Assalamu alaikum and welcome to our show. I'll be your host today, Brother Benjamin Shabazz, and our other host, is Brother Julius. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
How you doing?
Good, good.
All right, and this is the show where we critique the movies that are out. So it's called the Movie Review. So before we start, we're going to open up with a slight dua. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ameen. Okay, so we have 7 movies to cover today, and I'll just run them by you. The first one is going to be Crazy Rich Asians. The next one is going to be Peppermint. Then we're going to do Kin. Then we're going to do 22 Miles. Then we're going to do Predator. Then we're going to do White Boy Rick. And the last one is Finale. So the 2 most popular movies that just came out is Predator and White Boy Rick. So we're going to start with White Boy Rick.
Okay, so White Boy Rick, starring Matthew McConaughey, Richie Merritt, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Jonathan Majors, Bruce Dean, Piper Laurie, and YG's in it. And it has a French director, Yann Demange, and he's done some TV stuff in England. So a show called Top Boy is one of the things he directed in the movie 71. And the writers are Andy Weiss, Logan Miller, and Noah Miller. And the budget was $29 million. And opening weekend they did $8.9 million. And after 2 weeks they've made about $12.4 million.
So you said Bruce Dean is Bruce Dern?
Dern, yeah. And
yeah.
he was in The Hateful Eight, Django, and The Burbs, but he has probably over 100 movies.
Yeah.
And Piper Laurie, who played White Boy Rick's grandma, Bruce Dean was his grandfather. She was in Carrie, the old movie with Paul Newman and Jackie Gleason, The Hustler. She's been on ER, Twin Peaks, Matlock. So she has over 100 appearances in film and television also.
Yeah, and they that kind of star power,
Yeah.
kept put some spice in it.
Right, right.
But so let's talk about it a little bit. The first thing I noticed about White Boy Rick was the fact that it really represented white people who lived in near proximity to black people
Right.
in these big cities.
Right.
And a lot of times people think that cities are separated so much.
Right.
And you have your blacks over here and your white over here, which you do,
Right.
but then there's those zones where the 2 mix,
Right.
and they don't see each other as enemies.
Right.
They just blend in with each other.
Right.
And White Boy Rick was, that movie demonstrated how white people live amongst black people, and they're not looked at as the enemy. They just blend right in and adapt to the culture.
Right, right. Yeah, so he was about 13 or 14, and his dad was selling guns, and he gets into that, and he ends up, because they're putting pressure on his dad, he ends up becoming an informant for the FBI. And the people who he's informant on get caught in something else, and so they don't need him to testify. And when he was about 15, he started selling drugs on his own and ends up getting life. He got life, I think. And the movie it's like his crime career was so short, and it makes you think, was it worth it? Because he basically, I think he's still in jail now. He got out from Michigan, but they sent him to Miami when he got out. So he,
So this is a true story.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
And so his, like he didn't have a chance to have a life because of what he got caught up in. And, I think this movie is good for kids and like young kids who are getting caught up to show you that just because you're a minor, you could get the same effect of the law as a grown man, and kids don't understand that.
Yeah, that's a good point you brought up because a lot of times, a lot of our youngsters get caught up in the glamour,
Yeah,
movies and rap music, and they think they're going out here slinging dope, that they're just gonna get slapped on the hand
right,
or something. Or they take the attitude, well, I'm gonna die young anyway, and all that kind of crazy stuff.
right.
Then they get 25, 30, 40 years
Yeah,
for some BS that they could have avoided altogether.
right.
And like you say, they don't have no life after that.
Yeah,
If they got kids, they can't be a father to their kids. They can't be a role model in the community. They're like taken out of circulation, period.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a. So I wrote down a few things here. So is it a must-see movie?
Yes, yeah.
Must see. Is it for the as a family?
I would say yes.
Yes. What's the valuable message?
I think the value message is like, that life isn't fair, I think, and you can, like, everybody isn't held to the same standards, because in one scene, Johnny Littleman Curry, who's played by Jonathan Majors, tells white boy Rick, if I get caught, I get black people time. If you get caught, you get white people time. But Rick ended up getting black people time. So, like, life isn't fair, and you have to navigate accordingly, you can't think because this person got away with something that you're gonna get away with it, so.
Yeah. So wait for DVD or not?
I would go to the movies and see it while it's at the movies, but I think this is gonna be one of those movies that,
Classic.
yeah, and I think it's really good for kids, cause how the way it's made is more of like a teenager movie, like the ABC used to have the after school specials. I think it's just one of those movies on a bigger scale.
Yeah, and Matthew McConaughey plays his dad. Did an excellent job.
Yeah.
And his sister, I don't know who played his sister,
Right.
White Boy Rick's sister, but she did an excellent job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess without going any further, we're gonna give it a number one. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, White Boy Rick. See White Boy Rick. The next one we're gonna talk about is Predator. So let me start out on that one. It was great entertainment and action sci-fi movie. So if you're into sci-fi, if you're into the Predator series at all, this is a must-see movie. And I can't give away the ending. I can't tell you about the ending, but the ending is really something else. I mean, you'll be pleased with the ending. And it's not hardcore like the first one was, or maybe even the second one was. Not that one that hardcore level, but it has enough intrigue to hold you. And it's a family movie at the same time. And let's talk about just a few people that's the star power in the movie, that's a draw, is Keenan Michael Key from Key and Peele.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in it. And the brother who played in Moonlight, the older brother who played in Moonlight, Trevante Rhodes,
Okay.
he's in it. And
What is their role in the movie?
which one?
Both of them.
Oh, Keenan Michael Key. He's a comedian, straight up comedian, right? So he had a little comedian type role in it.
Okay.
But they were all soldiers that had done some things that they were being sent to the stockade, the military prison. And they were on their way there. So it was like about 5 people on this bus where the main star, the gung-ho white boy, he got caught up with them. He was being sent to the stockade. So they formed a little bond on the way to the stockade, just explaining each other's experiences and things. Mm-hmm. And they were trying to. Well, they got broke out of the van. I think because the predator was fighting the other predator or whatever it was. They got broke out of the van. But the point is, they formed a crew, mm-hmm. and they joined together to go and fight the predator. So there was a predator. There was 2 predators fighting each other. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like the gist of how all this predator action takes place. Because they had captured one, and then the other one was going to try to rescue the one they captured. But you think that's what's happening, but that's not really what was happening. You see, he wasn't really going to rescue him. But there was a lot of predator action. And Trevante Rhodes, who's the brother who played in Moonlight, he was one of that crew that bonded on the bus to the stockade. And so anyway, this crew, they all banded together, and they had to, fight to save the earth and all these kind of good things, But it's must-see. It's a must-see. If you're a Predator fan at all, it's a must-see. If you're not a Predator fan, it's a must-see. You can bring your family to it. A lot of adventure, a lot of action, and when I say you can bring your family to it, you know how a lot of movies have all this sex in it that you wouldn't think would have all these sex scenes in it, at a strip club or something like that. You don't have to worry about that with your kids. And the valuable message in it is that there's good, even though no matter how overwhelming evil seems, there's redemptive forces within that force, in those evil forces. There's good there that you don't even know is there. So you always have to keep the faith. Always have to keep your faith going and just not give. Oh man, I can't. These predators are just gonna kill everybody. I'm not. Mm-hmm. And so that was a valuable message in there. And so wait for DVD. I would definitely see the movie, and then get it on DVD as your own personal copy. Okay. So boom. So we got Predator, and we got White Boy Rick, right?
Right.
Okay. So let's go over a few. The other one, Crazy Rich Asians, which is an excellent movie to see how the trends or the fabric in the society, in the Asian society, is made up. Right? Especially the rich ones. It's inherited wealth, and the society is layered. And they make sure those who are on top stay on top through marriage or whatever. And they have all these things arranged. Like you just can't go out and marry somebody because you like her. They got to fit into this family thing. You know what I'm saying? Their family has to fit into the overall family thing and everything like that. And so it explains that clearly, the hierarchy in the Asian cultures. So for me, it was a must-see, because it teaches us a lot, but it might not be a must-see for everybody. But it's a good family movie, and there were no dark-skinned people in the movie, except for one time, and these people was like 2 cab drivers. Because you never really know if they were cab drivers or just somebody dropping somebody off, But the doors were open in the car, and they had stepped outside the doors, and they were like telling the people that you can get out now. And they weren't dressed They weren't dressed exclusively or uppity. They were just like had on a little shirt, little short sleeve shirt. And the only time in the picture that you saw two dark-skinned Asian people in the whole picture. So that's also explains some of the attitude of the Asian society towards, darker-skinned people. The movie spotlighted the difference between Chinese and Chinese American people. It's kind of like two different things there, But you can see it or you can wait for DVD. But if you're into understanding societies and how things are put together, it's an excellent movie to see. All right. Peppermint, starring Jennifer Gardner. Yeah, Gardner? Garner.
Yeah.
Jennifer Garner, yeah. And it's a basic propaganda movie to support the war on Mexico, gangs, drug dealing, and dangerous criminal activity. And so let's build a wall type of attitude. This whole thing, we got to build a wall on the border. But otherwise, the movie was full of adventure, action, and the vigilante spirit. The vigilante spirit. The must-see, if you like a lot of action and vigilante spirit, it's a must-see. Family, you can bring your family. The valuable lesson, if you don't see the propaganda in it, the valuable lesson is that the right will always come out on top. Because this girl here, Peppermint, she took martial arts and went overseas and studied and everything so she could come back and get revenge because her child and husband got killed by one of these MS-13 gangs. Yeah, so that's where the propaganda comes in because it could have been anybody who killed them. See what I'm saying? But they made sure it was the Mexican gang thing, so you can be afraid of this whole idea that's being put out there. But let me see. Well, I don't want to tell the end, but remember when Bruce Willis made a movie and he was going around killing people because somebody had killed his family? I don't know if you might not remember that. But in the end, the sheriff came in and kind of like nodded to him, because it was pretty clear he had killed some people, but kind of nodded to him and kind of let him go, So this same kind of idea is in Peppermint. But you like action, see it. Next movie is Kin, K-I-N, Kin. One of the stars is Zoe Kravitz. And it's about an African-American youngster living with a white family. He couldn't have been no more than 13. And his brother, who was, I guess you say his half-brother, who was a white guy, he just got out of jail, right? So the father in the family, because his wife had passed, so it was just the father dealing with the young black boy and then dealing with his own son, who was the white guy who just got out of jail. He's telling his black son, be careful, with your brother, because he know that his brother is always into some kind of stuff, always getting in trouble. The young boy finds a futuristic ray gun with destructive powers. So the movie goes on to explain how they're getting in trouble and everything because he's traveling with his brother and they're getting in trouble and he had to use his ray gun, to blow up stuff and things like that. So that was all exciting and everything like that. So then the owners of the gun, they come to find the gun and then they find the boy with the gun, and then that's where you get more understanding, you know, about where the gun came from and all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to talk about that because that would, you know, reveal the ending.
Okay.
And you're so good to remind me, don't reveal the ending.
Right.
But I would say it's a must-see movie that you can bring your family to, and also for if you have young teenagers in your family, to bring them to see the movie because there's a powerful moral message in the movie. It's a powerful moral message in the movie. Okay, let's move on. 22 Miles with Mark Wahlberg and Ronda Rousey, the MMA female fighter. And that was a draw to the movie, just the fact that she was in the movie. Excuse me, that was a big draw. And Mark Wahlberg, you know, he's trying to step in the shoes that who was the Bourne Identity man? Made all those Bourne.
Matt Damon.
Yeah, Matt Damon. So Mark Wahlberg is kind of stepping in those shoes of Matt Damon with these action movies. Because in the movie, you know, there was a lot of that camera stuff about how the cameras are all over the city, and you can pull up where somebody is, you know, at any point in time. So it was dealing with that a lot, really, about how much we are being observed and don't even know it. But Ronda Rousey was in it. It's a good action movie. You like action movies, this is a good one. Must see, if you're an action person, see it. Family, you can bring your family to see it. The valuable message is that right will always conquer wrong, basically. Wait for DVD. If you don't want to see it, please get the DVD. So we talked about Predator. We talked about White Boy Rick. And the last one on our list is Finale with Ben Kingsley in it. And Ben Kingsley played Adolf Eichmann as he was living in Argentina incognito. You know, Adolf Eichmann was a big Nazi war criminal that was responsible for a lot of pain and suffering for the Jews.
So was this years later? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Years later. Because the way the story goes is that a lot of the top officers, when they realized, you know, what was going down with the war, they had an escape plan that they would go to South America. I think it was called Project Odessa or something like that, where they would get transported out of the country and wouldn't have to stand trial for anything. Right. So the Jews wanted to make a statement with Eichmann because they were saying, look, we can just go over there and kill him. You know, they said, no, bring him back and put him on trial so the world can see. And that's what they basically did. Ben Kingsley did an excellent job. Excellent job. He's one of my favorite actors. You know, he gets into the character, man, and he plays it to the T, man. So if you're into that kind of thing, it's a must-see. It's not that it's big like The Predator or White Boy Rick or anything like that, but it's kind of zeroed in and focused in on the attitudes of people, you know, and it's excellent dialogue. It's kind of a mental movie, so to speak. So I would advise those who are into those kind of things to go see it. So that's all I have.
Right.
How we doing on time? We got a few minutes?
Got about 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay. So any comments?
Well, I think there's a lot of good movies out right now. Was talking to somebody and they were saying that movies aren't as good, but I think I want to see Ken and I want to see Finale. That's 2.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go check out.
So for the movie buffs, you know they got the pass out called Movie Pass.
Right.
You know, which is $10 a month. It's unlimited movies.
Okay.
Now, when Movie Pass first came out, it was a big rave, and everybody tried to get one. now they're trying to, because the fact that for you to spend $10 and you can go to a movie once a week, that's like a movie, what is now, $15 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's almost $60 that you're gonna spend just on going to the movies. You know, and so it was kind of like draining the income. So now they're trying to doctor it up. Whereas if you have if the movie first comes out, you know, like you can't see it on Movie Page. You got to wait till on the weekday or something like that. It's not available on the weekends. And the top flight movies like Predator and White Boy Rick and things like that. Some of the other ones you can see. So it's kind of, you got to be able to maneuver through it. But then there are these tickets you can get, like from AMC. I think they call it stub ticket, where you can pay like $20, and then you can see
3 movies a week.
Is it a week or a month?
A week.
Yeah, 3 movies a week. See, so there's all kind of alternatives to MoviePass, but the fact is that they want you to, you know, come and see these movies. So there's a lot of good movies out there, and a lot of inexpensive ways to watch the movie. Like on I think it's Tuesdays, they have specials.
Yeah,
You know,
for $5.
for seniors and veterans and things like that, or just $5 period. Yeah. And for those who have the time to go see movies, you know,
Yeah.
most people don't have that kind of time. But if you're into movies, seeing them firsthand, there's a lot of ways, and creative ways out there that they have for you to see movies and not spend all that money that they charge you. Anything else?
No, that's about it. Got like a minute. So.
Now you know this show is on YouTube. So if you have any comments you want to make for us, let us know. Or if you have any movies that we've already discussed that you want us to rediscuss, or you know, more intense or whatever, or any movies coming up that you want us to see, just write it down and send it to us, so we can stay on the case, because we're trying to bring you information that will save you a lot of trouble. Or should I see this, or shouldn't I see that, or a movie that might not look appealing. We're trying to show you that it is more appealing than it might be advertised to be. But basically, we thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Brother Julius.
All right. How did it go at the